Hey, everybody, I'm Tommy, and you're on the boat. What's happening? Sharon LeBron, good to see you. Hey, Jason P. Feisty Kitty's here. Jane Aldrich is here. How are ya? How are you? Lisa Trimble, hope you're doing well. Casper 42. G. Paula Penley, how are you, Paula? Lisa B, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Let's see something. This is going to we're gonna have a little fun today, people. And change really can be a good thing. I got some exciting news. I'm gonna wait until a couple of more people get here, or I'm going to be doing it 45 times. You love it when you're off and you can catch it live on KK. I'm happy that you're here. I love that too. I wish everybody was not working all the time and they could just watch. Galen, good to see you. So let's see. The pets live in an electric couch blanket. They're confused about why I won't turn the heat on, though. Whoa, there you go. I'm not like a heating pad or an electric blanket kind of guy. That stuff freaks me the hell out, man. I don't want anything that electric anywhere near me. You know what I mean? I don't want my heat to be plugged into a wall. That creeps me out. I figure there's a really good chance that if you're running electricity through it and it's made of cloth, right? I think there's just a chance something bad's going to happen. Lumen, good to see you. When I was a youngster and I was skiing, which I did a lot of, a company called Lang came out with a boot called the TII, and it promised a very cool concept. The TII was going to keep you warm no matter what. Hey, Jin. It was going to keep you warm 100% no matter what, which is a pretty cool concept. The problem becomes how they did it. Hey, Ian. From the UK. The way they did it is they put a heating element in there, right? Where do you think you put a heating element in a ski boot? Where padding used to be. I promise. That's where you put it. You put it right where the padding used to be, and it makes you freaking miserable. They became one of the most painful boots I ever put on in my life. Mistress of Puns, good to see you. Shannon Trim, how are you? There was actually some kind of a class action suit about that boot. Honestly, it was so absolutely awful that, a lot of people got injured. I remember, it was several seasons of just being miserable. Ian, I really am glad that you made it. I love first timers on the boat. It's a very cool thing. Very cool thing. I have been doing this, people, for, let's see, 3,300 or something like that videos, right? Now, some of those would be shorts. Probably, I'll bet close to 100 of them are shorts. Maybe not that many, but even still, maybe 2,200 hours of doing this stuff. Forward looking, good to see you. What's happening? And you start to get to a point, Carol Barnhart, I'm glad you're here. You start getting to a point where you feel like you're stagnating a little bit. You know what I mean? It's cool that I'm not trapped. There are a lot of people that talk about the exact same thing and they're sort of stuck. One of the nice things about the boat is I can kind of go anywhere with it, right? Mistress of Ponds, I'm sorry to hear that you have fibro. There are so many people on the lifeboat who have fibromyalgia. There are a lot of people on the lifeboat who suffer with fibromyalgia. You're definitely in good company. But sadly, they don't seem to treat it well. I don't think they have a handle on it yet. They really don't. I don't think they have a handle on it. Maybe in the future, they're moving forward on a lot of stuff. I hope that that's one of them. And I hope that they develop a test for it soon, because without that test, there's always going to be people that are going to, it's frustrating. Addiction was that way too. Tractor, how are you? Going to 3. Hey, Tommy and Lifeboat folk, you are a true beacon of good. Well, that's a very cool thing to say, isn't it? That is just a very, very cool thing to say. V-Bombs, good to see you. Glad that you're here. That would be V-Bombs from New York. I love New York. There are so many people in this country. You do realize that there are tons of people in this country who think that New York is Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx. Like if you were to get off of the island, it would there's nothing else. You go from there right to the next state. And there is more like open fields. There's very little city in New York. It just happens to be a big, crap load of people in that very small area. But most of New York used to be apple orchards. Absolutely gorgeous Oh, you're on the island, Long Island. V-Bombs, that's where my family is from. I've probably told you that in the past, and then sort of the brain stops working and I forget what the hell I said. Happens a lot. It is a fairly big state, forward looking. It is a very, it's a good sized state, but it is one of those misconceptions that people kind of just believe that it's just one big city. You get this thing in your head. It happens to us about a lot of things, right? It doesn't take, it's weird. It doesn't take a lot to really, really affect how somebody thinks about a place, right? You know, Cleveland has been the butt of jokes for so long, right? That there are people all over the country. When I was incarcerated, people would go, "Oh, the mistake by the lake," and they just start, and I'd go, "Yeah, when was the last time you were there?" And they'd go, "Oh, I've never been there." Well, what the hell are you doing? But those kind of things kind of happen, which is sad a little bit. Look at that. Ian Wallace is looking good in green. I don't know if the firm belief almost everybody looks better in green. Welcome, my friend. Glad to have you. Hi, Tommy. How you doing? It's 2010 in South Africa. Wow. I don't know what it is about South Africa, but we have got a really big group of people in South Africa. We really do. We got a huge group of people in South Africa. And just from the sobriety part of the boat, that part of the world is the last part of the world that has done that did any quaaludes, right? The mandrax that you guys had over there, those mandrax, either the regular ones or the bootleg ones, they're just making a bootleg version of methaqualon, of the stuff that they had in the 80s. Very Mags, aka Peggy, good to see you. Rockville Center, all right. We are very well represented in New York. Surprised. The Amityville Horror House, right? Also, Jaws, right? You remember the big fish? Yeah, that happened in Amity also. Amity couldn't catch a break, right? Amity literally couldn't catch a break. Forward Looking says, "Oh my God, that movie gave me the heebie-jeebies." You know, that's a show waiting to happen. We could very easily fall apart and end up in stuff like that. I do it a lot. That's why my cat's name is Squirrel. You went to Lake Seneca to visit friends for nice. Nice. Very cool. It is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. I worked for a company for a long time that was out of Rochester. And when you think Rochester, again, you think big city. He was just outside of it. And he had a really big home right on a lake. And it was one of the most beautiful. In fact, if you ever saw that, if you did look up the infomercial, that's where we were filming that. Jaws is the best. The very first one, the first Jaws, the rest of them got really stupid. But the first Jaws film was incredible. It really was. It was absolutely fun to watch. Yeah, I dug it. I really did. The line, "We're going to need a bigger boat," just goes down in history as one of the all-time greatest lines in any film. And I'm not making that up, by the way. They have a thing every year that they do where they list the top 100 of everything, and they do the top 100 lines from films. Bunch of them from Casablanca to blow your mind. But now that we've got some people here, favorite movie of all time, Tanya? Casablanca, my favorite movie of all time. Hands down, my favorite movie of all time. But Jaws is good. Jaws is absolutely good. Robin Miners, good to see you, Robin Miners. I'm glad that you're here. I really am. Tanya Holt, what's happening? So now that we got a bit of a crowd here, as I was saying, when you do this for a really long time, and for the longest period of time, I did a show in the morning and I did a show at night. So I was banging out two, at a minimum, 1 hour shows a day. More often than not, I was doing an hour and a half, and doing it a couple of times a day. It's, and it starts to absolutely wear on you, right? Sharknado is one of the worst films ever. I'm so glad that somebody brought that up. Really awful. Herkimer in the Mohawk Valley. Yeah, beautiful part of the world, Carol Barnhart. Beautiful part of the world. Spent time there as well. Almost from the beginning, I don't understand why I don't get notifications. I'm really sorry about that. I really am. Here's the deal. We're going to be going at about 11 o'clock, right? 11 o'clock on the West Coast. We've had a couple of problems in this last week because of things that happened in my personal life. right? Made it tough. But we are back on schedule, and normally we will be going at 11 o'clock every day, 11 o'clock West Coast. If not, we will be going at 11:30. It's rare that I don't do it. It's really rare that I don't do it, but it's been a hell of a week. So you do these shows long enough, and you start to get to a point where you're burning out. Now, I had issues. If you've been on the boat for a long time, I had some really tough issues where I burnt out and got nuts. And struggled, right, for real. So I have been trying to make sure that I'm not putting myself into positions that are going to stress me out, right? I mean, in terms of working way too much and putting in way too many hours or whatever. And it's been working, but it's like a relationship, right? It's like a relationship, and if you get to that point where you're trying to spice up the marriage a little bit. Hey, Kellyanne. By the way, I don't recommend doing that in marriages, but here it's a little different. So you go and you do collaborations, and that's a huge deal, and it breathes life into the boat because you get new people and you make new friends, right? From other parts of the world, and that's kind of what the dream was all along, right? The interwebs were supposed to shrink the world. It was supposed to bring all of us together, right? It was going to be this beautiful thing, only it isn't, right? It's a bit of a bummer, but I think that that collaborations really, really help. I really do. Yeah, that's a good one, actually. You're in the UK, but your sister is and her family are in South Africa. I've told her about your channel. Her son, my nephew, has come off substance abuse. Well, good for him, man. Good for him. That's nothing makes me happier. And I'm not being funny. I mean, nothing makes me happier. Change is the only constant in life. Yeah, there's something to that. Tracy Range, I'm glad that we could help with Mondays. Mondays are kind of tough. Not everybody loves Mondays. Johnny Scoville, you like Mondays? See that? Yeah, not a fan. It's just not a fan. Sandra Ferguson, good to see you. So you try to do things to keep you enthused, right? You try to do things to keep it fun. And the people from the boat really dig it when I go over to the Sean Atwood program. You guys represent the lifeboat massively. You know what I mean? They have a very big audience, but when you guys come over, you come over big enough that they actually notice, which is really kind of cool. New to the channel, going on 4 years of sobriety. Well, how cool is that? How cool is that? Welcome to the lifeboat. Day one, the official participation trophy of the lifeboat, we extend to you in congratulations on 4 years of sobriety. Because everybody here knows, the vast majority of us here know what it takes to pull off 4 years of sobriety, right? It's an awful lot of times where you had to overcome, had to reach out to people, had to journal, had to go walking, right? All of the different times you had to walk away from something that you really, really wanted to do. It's very, very difficult. And I have nothing but respect for people that do it. Now, so to keep things fresh, right? To keep things fresh, I like working with other people. And I have had an offer, right, to have my own channel. It would not be on the lifeboat, but I would have my own channel. Legal Live Wire Court Watch. I hope you're as proud of yourself as everybody else here is. Proud of you. So I'm going to be going on another program. I'm going to do it only 1 day a week, right? 1 day a week. I will be doing yeah, Becky. It's something that I think we all do. I think we all do that, right? Sorry. So I will be having a 2-hour program. It'll be 2 hours once a week. And it will not be on the lifeboat. I'm going to be doing it on another person's channel. And I'll be honest with you, I am really fired up about this, people. I am really excited about this. I think it's going to breathe a lot of fun into the boat. I really do. I really, really do. Alexis, 2002, 4 years as well. And I'll tell you something. I would be remiss if I did not mention that on the 11th month, right? The 11th day, the 11th hour, the 11th minute, right? This was the Armistice Day, and they have renamed it now. I think they call it do they call it Veterans Day? What day is this? What do they call it? Sorry, people, it's a brain fart. Brock Bandy, good to see you, man. Glad you're here. So I'm very much looking forward to doing this on a full-time basis, where I will have a show every single week, and I will really look forward to a lot of you coming over. Piano Mom, how are you? To coming over and watching me on the other channel. I will be announcing. You probably have figured out who the channel is without me announcing it. There's probably a pretty good chance you got it figured out. Bill Herrera, how are you? But I will be making a full, official announcement. Humble and Kind, good to see it. A official announcement. No, forward looking, I very well may have screwed this up. 11/11 is Veterans Day and my birthday. Lucky Robin Miners. Yeah, I guess they're calling it Veterans Day over here. It used to be Armistice Day. And then they realized that kids couldn't spell armistice. And that's kind of the U.S.'s, instead of shooting for the stars, that, come up with a better method. It's kind of disturbing. Robin Miners, 11/11. So do you know what hour you were born? Because that really could be interesting. Lumen, thank you. It's great to see you. Lacey Silver, how are you? So I'm really excited about this, and I'm hoping everybody's going to come over. It's the channel is based outside the good old US of A. So what's going to be great is it gives me the opportunity to hold on a second. Before sobriety was Casper. Really? You and I were roommates, huh? And your name was Casper. No way. No way. There's no way. Good. You could spit out the name of the prison or just the state. How would that be? Tell me the state, because that could be really funny. The thing is, Casper is one of those names. There are a lot of Caspers inside. A lot of Caspers. You were diagnosed with lung cancer a year ago this month, taking hydrocodone, and I get so scared of getting addicted. No, you know what? Stop that. Stop that, right? Arizona, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you are. We were roommates in the shoe. We didn't, we didn't get out of the shoe. We lived together in there. Holy hell, man. It is good to see it. Do you know something? Look, don't put anything up right now. Don't put anything up. One of the funniest stories I ever heard in my life. I may have even recounted the story on the boat, straight up. But one of the funniest stories ever was told to me by Casper. It had to do with a rock star from Canada. Hey, Catalina, you did. You made a live. How cool is that, huh? How cool is that? Arizona in the shoe. One of the funniest stories, I'm not kidding, of all time. Of all time. We laughed forever. You know something else? There was a lot of funny stories. He and I lived together for a long time. When I described waiting to go to the special management unit, waiting to go to the SMU, he and I were cellmates during the time that they were lying to me. They'd come up every day and go, "Yeah, you're not going to go to the SMU. You can't go to the SMU for that. You got nothing to worry about. You're not going to the SMU." Sure as hell, man. Sure as hell. Kirsty says, "Hey, Tommy Crew and everyone, Armistice Day signed Treaty France to end the war. USA Veterans Day, Remembrance Day in Australia. Depends on the alley and how they acknowledge. Thanks to everyone for their service." Well, that's a good call. Thank you to everyone for your service. It is one of those things that forever makes me feel guilty. It really does. It forever makes me feel guilty because I feel like they were out fighting and trying to keep us safe while I was acting like a jackwagon. You know what I mean? Well, I was completely acting like a jackwagon. Third Eye Open, good to see you. Chicken Cherry Cola, what's happening? No way. I didn't know you did true crime with with Matthew Cox. I was on there too, Casper. I did Matthew. What a friggin' trip. Send me an email, tommyscoville@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on, man. We could tell some wicked funny stories. Do you remember when they put the black stuff all over the inside of the cell? Had that youngster with us from Utah? Man, there were some funny stories that came out of doing the shoe time. I'm not playing. That was a really, really funny time. I mean, as far as prison goes, that was pretty funny. At that time, I was definitely not sober either. I was still going hard to the paint. I was doing whatever and anything I could get my hands on. Wasn't a great time. I mean, that way anyway. But I definitely had a lot of laughs. I had a lot of laughs with Casper. I tell a bunch of stories that you're in. I'm not even kidding, man. You're a funny dude. Joanne Ventrilla, good to see you. Care Bear Gratitude, what's happening? There are also lots of other ways to serve. You know what, Kellyanne? You're right. Absolutely right. And you're right. You can. Care Bear Gratitude? Shut right up. Care Bear Gratitude. Well, that's just an absolutely phenomenal name. It really is absolutely phenomenal. I got to assume that that's part of the one. Jen Pookie, good to see you. Carol Carr, what's happening? If it's not, and that's just happens to be your name, that's even funnier. Because stick around, we end up mentioning Care Bears quite a bit. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Rambo, good to see you, man. Oh, it's Rand Show. I thought you were Rambo. Sorry. Sorry about this. Question, Tommy. Could you do a live someday regarding your best day, if you could call it this, and your worst day in each jail you were in? Yeah, I could do that. I absolutely could do that. And it would probably make for good content. That's a great idea. Whose channel am I going on? You know whose channel I'm going on. I'm going to have a recurring channel where I am the host. I mean, a recurring show where I am the host. And it is going to be on our friend from Great Britain's channel. Really pretty fired up about it, too. Angela Keegan, you know who I'm talking about, people. I will be a routine part of the Sean Atwood program. More than I am now, because right now I'm a pretty decent-sized chunk of that channel as well. By the way, going live on that channel at 4 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will be on there. If you're going to be awake, please come and see us. Yes, Paula P. I am going. It is with Atwood. Questions. Are you allowed? Am I allowed to go to the UK? You know what? I wish my man was still here because he could probably answer that better than I could. He's also a pretty sharp cat. That's so freaking funny, people. You have no idea. When he said Casper, I'm like, whatever. Because I've known dozens of them, but that's the only Casper I ever lived with. And we lived together for a hot minute. A lot of really funny freaking stories. You remember when I told you that they were piling people into the cell? They would come up and go, you got to take this dude, or we're going to have to put him in the cell with a guy with bad paperwork, or we got to put him in the cell with a freak or anything like that. And we'd go, oh, yeah, we'll take him then. And it got to a point where there's like 3 guys in a 2-man cell. Then it was 4 guys in a 2-man cell. And for one night, because of a guy going to the hospital, we had 5 people in a 2-man cell, which I know is not legal. I know it's not. So here's the deal on, I cannot go to Canada. That is so cool, man. You have no idea how cool that is. Honestly, you have no idea how cool that is. Yeah, I hate to sound elitist, but sometimes I do. But when you get inside prison, you'll get real starved for intelligent conversation. I mean, you will get really starved for intelligent conversation. And when you come across someone that you can actually have an intelligent conversation with, the relief is unbelievable. I mean, it is unbelievable. It's and I had really, really had great conversations, and you got a smoking sense of humor. We did a lot of laughing. Yeah, I absolutely will put something together. I think people would love that, man. I think people would love that. Jason P. just put a link up to the Atwood program. I will be there today. Having a tough time remembering when. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on the East Coast, I will be there. And I'll tell you something. I dig it. I really do. I dig it over there. It's a great audience. It really is. It's a great audience, and I'm looking forward to doing some interviews and some other stuff that's slightly off from what we normally do. Can I go to all 50 states? I can go to all 50 states. I cannot go to Canada. Canada's really serious about that. Australia is not going to let me in either. There are certain places where if you're a felon, you're just not coming. Plain and simple. You're not coming. And those happen to be 2 of them. No, they will be scheduled programs. They will be scheduled. Am I still going to do the boat every single freaking day? Every single day. Absolutely, I'm going to still do the boat. 1 day a week, I will be doing one less show. And I would like you guys to start getting in the mindset of, I will be here, right? 11 o'clock California time. I will be here every day of the week. If I'm not, it'll be 11:30. But I would swing over and, I would swing over. If you want to catch the boat, it's going to be there every day. I promise you. And yeah, I'm not going to stop doing the boat. This keeps me sane, people. This keeps me sane. And not for nothing, it's how I make a living. If I stopped doing the boat, I'd be in a hell of a lot of trouble. I know that feeling about intelligent conversations. I played sports. Here, let's do that. I played in a sports team as a much, much older person, 40 plus, and they were all 18 to 22. Oh my God, shoot me now. It was that's numbingly boring. You know something? So the perfect example to this is when they brought Casper to the cell that I was in, I was already in there with older dude who was an attorney, but a pathological liar. Right. Just the stuff that came out of his mouth he really was an attorney, but everything else he said was a lie. So we didn't get into a lot of conversations because he was just out there. And then a kid that was about 18 or 19. And you know what? The kid may end up watching someday. So I'll say this as nice as I can. But this kid was not burdened by deep thought, man. I've told this story on the boat. I have told this story on the boat as well. I can go to the islands. I've never had an island tell me I couldn't go to it. And I've gone there a lot, gone to a lot of islands. They've never seen them mess with me in the slightest. So yeah, the keys that the COs, the corrections officers have is on a chain, right? So when they come to do the door or whatever, they always has to pull this thing off of the chain. You stick your hands through the food slot. We talked about this, right? When you're in the shoe, your hands go through the food slot so that they can uncuff you or cuff you. And when the guy went to uncuff him, he grabbed the chain that the keys was on and just ran forward with it, right? And pulled this rather large guard into the door, and the keys and everything else came off. And I have never, ever seen a group of people panic as much as I did that day. I mean, straight running panic. It really was. They came up and started negotiating with him. And at that point, I was across the hall. I was actually living in the corner cell. I just gotten there. And I knew you were living with the guy that did the huge crimes, and he was in Rolling Stone magazine. But the cops come up to negotiate, and he's like, "Nah, get the warden. And you made a list. He had a list of demands. He wanted socks. He wanted soups and stuff from the kitchen. You would not believe it, man. And they delivered. They absolutely delivered. Pretty damn funny. You know what, man? I am really glad that you popped up in here. I really am. That's so freaking funny. I tell stories. So people, and I'm going to get to back all this stuff up. That's very, very cool. Because when I said to you that the nastiest thing you've ever seen on planet Earth was the shoe we were in Phoenix is where I was at with this cat. And they had the walls. They don't want you tunneling through from one wall to the other to pass drugs and do all of that stuff. So they put big chunks of metal up on the wall, like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch pieces of metal. And you're screwed, right? Now all of these little bugs can go directly behind that thing. And one other thing, hands down, the best artist I've ever met in my life. Hands down, the best artist I've ever met in my life. And that's in or out of the joint. And if you knew how many incredible artists there are in prison, you'd understand what a crazy thing that is to say. But he really is a very, very gifted artist and tattoo artist. TTT Tractor. I think we all change completely as we start to get older. Thank God, right? Humble and kind. That's a very cool thing to say. So proud and honored to witness your channel growing, Tommy. You know what? It's so much fun when it's growing. You know, we've gone through growth spurts in the past, and they're always a hell of a lot of fun. It's way more fun when there's a ton of people checking out your stuff. However, we really have kept basically the same attitude through the entire process. I think having my brother, you know, my brother's been in this a long time. He's got 140 or 150,000 subs or something. So your granddaughter is going to be born tomorrow. No way. Congrats. That is one of the coolest things ever, man. That is one of the coolest things ever. You are going to have to come on and brag. We'll give you a platform to brag as a proud grandmother. That shouldn't be too hard, right? It's what they do. It's what they do. Congratulations. Honestly, that's so cool. This is so exciting. Congratulations on your new show. Yeah. I'm pretty fired up about it. You know, now I've got Shane. I don't know whether or not you guys realize, but Shane is the hardest working dude in all of the Big Red Button. I'm not joking. And he has an ability to get people on the phone that it's, you know, if I'm almost confident that if I said to him, you know, I want Mick Jagger and he'd just get you their phone numbers, man. Like he'd set that crap up and you get him on the channel. He is, no joke, just an excellent producer, man. Just an excellent producer. Miss Sunrise Dawn, how cool will that be? Take your 5-year-old with you. My sister, I think, was 6 when I came, when they brought me home. And Johnny was 4. Shane, the agent. Shane is the agent, and he's absolutely incredible. He really is. Sean is too. Sean, I have so much fun talking to because we have experienced a lot of the same things. Yeah, that's what I do. Own tattoo shops in LA and in Montana where I live now. Thanks, brother. Appreciate your kind words. No, you know what, man? I couldn't be happier, dude. I'm really, really happy that you popped up on a boat. I will answer that email. I can't wait to get you on, man. I cannot wait to get you on. That'll be a really fun show, people. It will be a really, really fun show. On the new channel, Cooter by the Lake. Yeah, I said Cooter. And I'm not even feeling bad about it because I know she just laughed. Can I give you a hint at what I will cover? Well, what I'm going to cover is what is breaking in true crime, right? More than likely, I'm going to be covering exactly what's going to be, cooking in true crime. Yeah, he's about that close to 1 million subs, man. How cool is that, right? How cool is that? It's going to be true crime, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him. Yeah, you know something, Coburger. I'm going to give you guys an address so that you can send over, and we'll take temperatures and on people, and we'll see what y'all want to see for what, because there's a lot. You have to pick and choose. It's almost impossible to cover everything. It really is, and to do a good job. Kellyanne, thank you. It's a kind thing to say. If you would run into me and said, "Hey, man, do you remember Casper, right, from Black Canyon?" And I would have said, "Yeah." What do you think he's doing on the street? I would have said he owns tattoo shops. Wouldn't have been a doubt in my mind. Would not have been a doubt in my mind. He was one of the funniest things ever, too, is the little kid that lived with us kind of fancied himself an artist. And the kid made this thing. He's like, "I'm sending this home for, can you just show me how you would do it differently?" And Casper just took this thing, set it down, and just started to go to town on it. And you could watch this kid, like he was super excited that it was getting touched up. And then it was like, "Oh my goodness, man, this dude's way better than I am." And by the time he was done, the kid was, I think he may have given up his career, but it was a funny moment. It was a pretty funny moment. Tony Suter, good to see you, Tony Suter. You know something? Now, I don't want to put anybody on blast. Right? However, it's Tony Suter. The shirt that everybody's been freaking out about that I wore the other day. I have had, if you knew how many people, Tony, that have reached out and said, I need one of those shirts. And I got to go, yeah, that was a gift. It's a one-off, man. That's a gift. It's crazy, crazy. But there are a lot of people that dug that shirt. ASAP Lizzie, how are you? If you hadn't seen the shirt, it is a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, except it got improved upon. It got improved upon. You'll see me wearing it again. To be sure, you'll see me wearing it again. It's now my favorite shirt. It's just awesome. It says Admiral Tommy instead of just Tommy. It's just very, very cool. She hit it out of the park. And if you guys remember the DB Crim, I had a polo shirt that said DB Crim on it. That was also a talented individual. Very talented. Allegedly would not be a bad name for a show, Kellyanne. Would not be a bad name for a show. Holy crap, that's funny. Allegedly. Yeah, it is a great shirt. It really is. It's a great shirt. But the number of people who were like, get me one. I need one in a size. I'm like, if it were that easy, we've had it just shows that she does incredible work. She really does. She does incredible work. You like the allegedly? Oh, I'm glad. Every once in a while, someone will shoot me a email and tell me how much they hate it. God. Just wanted to thank Tommy in the boat. I've lost 19 kilograms. To those of us here in the U.S. who go, 19 what? It's about 45 pounds. I think it's pretty close to 45 pounds. And most importantly, I'm keeping up, changing my eating habits completely and maintaining it. Just had a salad with chicken. God bless you. Are you feeling fantastic? Right? And I don't even mean physically, but there's just something really awesome about setting a goal and actually hitting it. Right? Take this from somebody that spent the vast majority of his life setting goals and not hitting them. Yeah? For real. There's something so beautiful, right? To set out a goal for yourself and then start knocking it off in increments, right? Realizing that this is going to be a marathon and sticking with it. God bless you, man. That is so damn cool, for real. That is so cool. It really is. You should have your own allegedly meme. It would go viral. We're going to hear allegedly a lot in the next couple of years. I promise you. You saw a shirt. You saw me in a shirt that said, "Call me the captain. I'm always right." Yeah, it said something along those lines. I got a bunch of captain shirts back in the day. I probably got about 60 of them in a very short period of time. Been watching Sean since the Jeffrey E. saga, and found the boat on Surviving the Survivor. Can't wait for your new show. Perfect fit. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a hell of a fit. I really do. It's a great group of people over there. It really is. And you say that anytime somebody invites you on your show, right? You never go, yeah, I'm going on the show Friday. This dude's a dirt bag, but I'm hoping it'll benefit the channel, right? It's always a great guy. It's always a great woman. But this really is a great person. I've been blessed in that I worked with the two coolest channels on the internet, and I'm not blowing smoke at all. But when I first went on Surviving the Survivor, they were the same size as the boat, right? They had like 4,000 subs or something. It was a while ago. And to watch him just blow it up, he's a machine. He really is. And he and his whole family, man. And I've told this story so many times on the boat that people are getting sick of hearing it. But I had an issue. You'll see it on a thumbnail. It says I relapsed. Right? That's a tough one to film. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. I got a text from Joel at Surviving the Survivor that said, "What do we got to do? Right? Do I need to get you here? Do you want me to come there? What have we got to do?" That's pretty damn incredible stuff, right? It's Pretty damn incredible stuff. Nice. How cool is that? I started watching Atwood because he had so many Scottish old school criminals on his show. That's I like following that. Tell you what, that the allegedly hoodies look tomorrow. It's not there tomorrow, it'll be there the next day. But look for allegedly hoodies. I'll have them in there probably tomorrow. You were the first STS member? Holy hell. That's so cool, man. That really is. That is so cool. Yeah, so of course I'm going to keep doing this. Of course I'm going to keep doing this. And I think this is going to be a real, I think it's going to be a real bonus for the boat as well. Every time we can go somewhere else, right? I love that. Anytime we can go someone else, a funny thing happens, right? People look at us and they realize that you can get together. We can get together and actually benefit one another, right? We can actually lift people up. If you've never seen the lifeboat in action, it's a trip. It really is. It's a trip. And a lot of times we're doing whatever. We're doing true crime, or we're farting around, or we're joking. But there's never been a moment where somebody came on here and said, you know what, I need help, or the show didn't stop. I don't care what it's doing. For real. It's we've always put people's sobriety ahead of all else, because I know that it would only take one hit of smack and I'd be all over. When I relapsed, I didn't relapse on my drug of choice. I ate some Valium and drank some beer, but my drug of choice has always been opiates. That's what I was addicted to. Started watching Sean around or before the C+ math because of his fascinating arrest and prison story, but came back to watch when you started collaborating with him. Very cool. Very cool. I had watched him. I was familiar with his books, all of it. And it was funny because I got an email, and the email was, hey, we'd like to have you on. And I wrote back, because you get this stuff all the time and it's never real. So I wrote back and went, yeah. No, send me the link. I'll be right on it. I was giggling. I thought for sure it was one of my friends messing with me. But then they sent me the link. I was like, holy hell. Tommy, my sister's wedding went off perfectly last night. She looked beautiful and maid of honor, did the important job of keeping things managed so my sister could focus on the important task at hand. Well, all right. I'll tell you something. You believe it or not, folks, you think, oh, wedding, so cool. No, man. Family gatherings of any kind, but things like this, family gatherings of any kind, are so stressful. It really is so stressful. So throw in the fact that you've got to pull off an event. Throw in the fact that anybody can ruin it. Oh, God help us, man. Weddings are just awful. I mean, they're not awful to attend, but if you're in the process of having anything to do with putting it together, good God, man. Good God, man. UK is 6 hours ahead of you. Oh, I don't know now that because all the daylight savings and all that, he was 8 hours difference than me, right? And I'm on the West Coast. Sorry. James Collins, good to see you. Yeah, can we get some ones for Miss Sunrise Dawn's daughter? She's a little stressed out. I understand that, right? That's pretty normal stuff, right? It's always fairly normal. You should have seen me. Holy crap, man! I was a wreck. For both of my kids. I was there when Spanky was born, sort of. I was in the hall. I was in the hospital, but I was not inside the room. I wasn't. I was a kid, and I just was not ready for that at that time. But when my second child was born, I was actually in the room, and it's a beautiful thing, right? They always describe it as the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. It's the miracle of life. There's nothing more beautiful, and I know that they're telling the truth, right? It really is one of those things that's just beautiful. But it kind of looks like a wet St. Bernard trying to come through the cat door. You know what I mean? It's not always the most beautiful thing while you're watching it and it's happening. I'm just saying, don't judge me, people. Don't judge me. Yeah, that's the way I feel. Congratulations on the soon-to-be newborn baby. Hope everything goes smoothly and healthy, and a healthy baby is born. I love that. And ASAP Lizzie says, "Aw, a baby Spanx." Yes, and I'll tell you something. I got to find some photos. I will find them, and I will snap some pictures, and I will put up baby Spanx Calhoun because he was the funniest kid in the whole world. He scowled until he was about a year and a half old. He absolutely scowled until he was like this. I mean, at all times, I would look at him and go, "Holy hell, he's mad about something." And it was hard not to laugh at. You know what I mean? It was so funny, but that was just how he looked. My daughter is the youngest of my kiddos. She absolutely is. I have just Spanky and my daughter, the two of them. Linda, so let's see here. What do we got? Indeed. By the way, I told my son about you and your channel. Cool. And how you said for him to reach out. He really didn't believe it. You're so genuine to pass on such a positive. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I would, you know what? When you get out, right? When you get out of the joint, it is one of the most difficult things on planet Earth to acclimate to the new world. And they don't help. I mean, they don't help with how you need to get help. And the way you need to get help is like we do group. Anytime you can get with somebody that's already been through something, right? That's how it works, right? I'm a voice of logic, reason, and skepticism is very needed now more than ever. Wow. You know what? If I could send that to my elementary school teachers, to all of them, they would just absolutely die. I was voted most likely to be deported. And I bet you think I'm being funny. I'm not. I could show you the yearbook. Actually, what it said is that I was spotted on a deserted island with Spiro Agnew after the both of us had been kicked out of the country. True story. That's what it said. Spanx is chill and intense all at the same time. You know what? That's one of the greatest descriptions of my kid I have ever heard, right? Delphi case just reached a verdict to be read. Oh, no way. Everybody hear that? That is, holy crap. Delphi case just reached a verdict to be read this afternoon. I don't know how many of you have been, what am I saying? The vast majority of you have probably been following this case. It's such a terrible case. Is there a story about the Nimbus 2000? Well, somebody had it, and I saw what it could be. It didn't look like that at all, but it seemed to me that it was screaming to be a Nimbus 2000. It was screaming to look like something from Harry Potter. So I took it was much bigger. I took all of the bark. It was like a rough looking thing. I took the bark off the outside, sanded it, and now it's ready for to cruise the grounds at Hogwarts. Again, don't judge me. I absolutely love that entire series. I love the Harry Potter series.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's because I wasn't talking to you. You know, when your phone just pops off like you actually said the little helpful computer's name, it bums me out. Sorry. So, like Tommy, I heard bits of your background story a while back on STS, but do you have a full vid with the whole colorful story on your channel that you can post a link to? If you just go back to like the first 4 shows, that we did here on the Lifeboat is just me telling my story. It's that's literally all it is. Maybe the first one, not so much. The first one, I just come out and kind of tell you, maybe it is. I haven't watched the first one in a long time. But you'll read the titles and it'll my criminal history or something along those lines. It's definitely something that will stick out at you. Right? Right? She really is. Nothing screams I've been listening the whole time than piping up without the activation word. Incarnasol. So beautiful. That is so funny. You know, I don't want to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole because you know me. Eh. But I was sitting with Johnny Scoville the other day, and we were talking about a watch company. And it's not a watch company that people, it's not one you'd have heard of, right? It's a small brand, and they don't make a lot of watches. And boom, all of a sudden you go on and you, before you start typing in on Google, the name of the watch company is there. And I'm like, oh, they're listening. They're absolutely listening. What did I miss? What did I miss? Sorry. Yes, no question. Shelly Kelly. Good to see you, Shelly Kelly. I'm glad that you're here. Shelly's awesome. She's another of the Arizona crew. Another of the Arizona crew. Somebody said, "Could I break down the Delphi case?" I will. I definitely will not do it here. The Bune is the name of the brand. I know you know it, Casey. They make really almost everything they make is blue. Really gorgeous stuff. You know something? My thumbnail today is very eye-catching. Who designed that? Probably Spanx Calhoun. I would imagine that was a Spanky thing. He's all right, that kid. He's all right, that kid. There is a difference between addiction and tolerance. Oh, yeah. You know something? I got squirreled away. Listen. Pay attention, please, everybody. I hope they're still here. I get calls. I get emails. I get people who say, you got to help me get off of opiates. And I'll say, okay, you know, where are we at? Well, I've been taking this stuff for 4 years. You know, why were you taking it to start with? Well, I have, you know, degenerative disc disease, and my spine is kind of, so your spine's now no longer, you know, pulling out pain. Oh, no, it is, but I don't want to become an addict. Shut up, right? You're going to be addicted to pain. And if you're taking what's on the side of the bottle, in other words, if you go to the pain clinic and they say, here's 150 pills, it's got to last you the month. If on the 8th you have gone through 150 pills, you have a drug problem. You have a drug problem, I promise. If you can do it the way the doctor says on the side of that bottle, you don't. It's always worked that way. I'm telling you, it's always worked that way. Humble opinion. That, without a doubt, is my humble opinion. And if I went in and they said, tell you what, we're going to make this a lot easier on you. We're going to give you 150 of them a week, I'd be done in 5 days. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, right? I honestly don't know how to explain it, but it's something that happens to a lot of addicts. It really does. It's something that happens to an awful lot of addicts. But you don't need to quit an opioid if you need an opioid. I don't want anyone living in pain because they came across the lifeboat and thought, oh man, I got to get off this stuff. Or if your doctor is writing you prescriptions for Fent, right? It isn't the same Fent. I promise you, it's not even close to the same Fent. That's alpha fentanyl. And the stuff that they make in with pharmaceutical companies, and I'm not a fan of pharmaceutical companies, you know that. But I will tell you something, pharmaceutical Fent, I wasn't bumping people off. It's the analog crap on the street. That's what's bumping people off. Someday you'd love a Rolex, not likely to happen. You know something, humble and kind? You don't say that. You can absolutely get one. I promise you. You got to know. Yeah, it's not a hard process. It really isn't. Okay, Catalina says, Tommy's right. Take it as prescribed and you're fine. Those with untreated severe debilitating pain are in so much danger of high blood pressure, heart attack and stroke, and many other problems. You don't have to live in pain, you know, based on the fact that, you know, there are people who are trying to encourage real addicts to quit. It's a very different thing. So I used to get pain meds given to me because I needed pain meds. I was having surgery or I was having injuries or whatever. And I was on them for a really, really long time, right? However, when the time came to quit, wasn't an option. There was no option, right? When I stopped taking the stuff, and I got sick and, whoa, man, I'm glad that's over. And then I would call the dude and start trying to get more. Sandra says, I have horrible spine rods, screws. Oh, I know the procedure you had. No, I am not starting a new channel with Sean. I am going to be doing a Tommy Scoville show on with Sean. So I will be on the Sean Atwood program once a week doing a 2-hour segment. It's going to be the Johnny Scoville show, where I'll be talking about things like true crime. And out the gate, there's probably going to be some Diddy stuff there because there's a real demand for it. Casey's right. Smaller Rolex watches are less money than the larger ones. And if they are really common, they are less money. And there are people that you can get a hold of who just broker those. Like I have friends that do not sell any other kind of watch. They buy and sell 26 millimeter wide women's Rolexes. The date just normal ones, no diamonds, no nothing. He just cranks through them. Tommy, thank you for being so truthful and unapologetically you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sandra, I am so sorry. I know that procedure. They put a couple of rods all the way through the vertebrae all the way down, and I don't know anybody that got that surgery that isn't hurting. I really do not know. Sorry. Pain never ends. Well, so if anybody out here is dealing with that kind of stuff, if your reason for wanting to quit is you believe you have a drug problem, well, then we should try to help you quit. I don't think that people should quit if it means that they're going to be in pain for the rest of their life. And if they're taking the stuff the way that it's written on the side of the bottle, then I'm not too worried about it anyway. If it were me, I wouldn't be worried at all. But I couldn't do that. Absolutely could not do that. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I watched Back to the Future trilogy again recently and had a good giggle when the technology repeating to activate items not to work. Happy to use my humble 2 feet heartbeat, do it myself. You know something? Here you go. That's the one I was looking for. As a chronic pain warrior, I can say that I tend to make my scripted pain meds last longer than what's typical. I only take it when no other solution works. I know 6 or so alternate solutions. And I'm all about that, right? The best case scenario is if you could treat your pain without having to take any kind of, put anything in your body. That's the best case scenario. However, if it's not realistic, and I knew people that would say, I don't want to do that. It's bad for my body, right? And the fear of the opiate. And I'd say, well, then how are you getting through this? Well, I'm eating a bottle of Advil a day. I promise you, that much acetaminophen going into your liver for long periods of time. You should ask your doctor. You should ask your doctor if he thinks that's more dangerous or opiates are more dangerous. I think you should ask your doctor that. I really do. I really do. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers for everybody that's hurting. Back is something that so many of us deal with bad back. That was my excuse, folks. That was my excuse. And I'm not talking about me, not anybody else. That was my favorite excuse. And I did have, you look at my file, I got horrendous back problems. But what I found out was the pain that I was suffering from my back had a lot more to do with the medication that I was taking. And I became somebody that got really, really into yoga. And for a guy who's really, not a small dude, you'd be really surprised at how much I can twist myself into knots because it really did an awful lot to mitigate the pain. It did an awful lot to help me not feel as bad and to do it without having to pump crap into my system. And let's be really honest, it quiets the mind. And anything that quiets your mind is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Sometimes you got to do what you can to cope with care, attention, medical supervision to get over the hump. Working a long-term plan to manage a situation. You know something? That is absolutely great advice. You have got to have a team. If you're, no matter what you're doing, you know, I'm not fighting pain anymore. Now I'm working with my brain, right? And I got a team. I have a team of people that work with me. I work with several therapists and I work with psychiatrists. I'm working with everybody, and I need it, right? I absolutely need it. I think the years of opiate abuse is what caused me to have emergency gallbladder surgery. So opioids make it really, if anybody here who's been addicted to any of these will know that it causes unbelievable constipation, right? It really does. It causes unbelievable constipation, and that does a lot of damage on a lot of people. When you start backing up everything that you got in your body, it's just not a good thing. Thank you, Tractor. What a cool thing to say. For those watching not live, Tractor said, Tommy, you do a great service. Thank you. You're such a kind soul. And I really do appreciate that. Yeah. Hello, Anna. 2 a.m. I hope you fall asleep, Anna. I really do. I hope the voice puts you to sleep. And from Mass, good to see you. Some of us have to deal with pain because we loved opiates too much. The vast majority of my pain came from loving opiates too much. That was me. That was absolutely me. The good news is I didn't have to come up with 50 things so that I could cut the dope out of my life. Walking, right? I do a hell of a lot of walking. I don't sit down. You may not believe that, but especially since the only time you see me, I'm sitting down. But the rest of the day, I'm standing up. I do not sit down. I'll squat, but I don't like the way I feel. If I sit down for 4 hours, the way I feel afterwards, it's devastating. It really is. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's scary what I went through from 19 to 30. Experimental drugs because it's in your head. Felt like a crazy person. Yet I had 3 surgeries. So how it is in my head when my MRI shows extensive damage. You know what, Catalina? I think a lot of us get to a place where we start questioning things that happen to us because just by nature of the fact that we're putting a crap load of chemicals in our brain, memories, how everything, and I've done a ton of shows on this, but how everything in our brain sort of gets organized. Drugs absolutely devastate that. Really does. Makes it so much harder to remember things and to do it in such a way that you can have recall. It's very, very difficult. And I want to do more yoga videos, and I plan on it. It's just that I've had been on a bit of a run in terms of busy, but I do want to do them. I do it every day. I do it when it's dark, right? I get up at 4 a.m. If I did it when the sun was up, but this summer for sure I will. This winter for sure I will get stuff up. I promise. Shout out from Chi-Town, actually Crete. If you got real back pain, I use CMOS for inflation and that Chai machine for that oxygen. You know what? Honestly, there are so many things out there that work beautifully for people, and they don't work beautifully for everybody, right? Knox, wow, you've been watching for a few months now and finally caught a live stream. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. Grace, Twinkle Toes. Thank you. Appreciate the lurkers. I really do. I appreciate the lurkers. My husband had degenerative back issues and his doctors wouldn't help. He lived on CBD, Tylenol, and Advil. If you need an opiate to manage your pain, do what your doctors prescribe. I wish that was part one. So let's find us a part two here. I wish my husband had fought harder to get the help that he needed. And you know something? This is painful, right? There's nothing worse. I'm not going to say the name of the person because the family of this person, they don't want the kids to come across this. So we're not going to say the name, but there are people here who know exactly who I'm talking about. And the way that the government has done doctors and done people in pain management, they're so paranoid to write a prescription, honestly, so paranoid to write a prescription that a lot of people that absolutely need it, right? Absolutely need it, don't get it. And to me, that's painful, right? I can't stand watching it. I really can't. All righty, people. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I am going to want to go catch some of the news on Delphi. I think I will be in Joel's chat, like to hear what he's got to say. Hold on a second. Ooh, tinnitus is awful. Ringing in the ears. I'm having a hard time with remembering things. Never did think it was due to my hydrocodone. I thought it was because I was 55. I had herniated discs L4, L5, and 2 surgeries. Also have fibro. It's a possibility. Doesn't mean it's a lock, right? It's a possibility. Doesn't mean that that's absolutely going to happen. So I wouldn't start betting on that yet. Hold on one second, people. Hold on one second. All right. It may have nothing to do with your hydrocodone use, but I would be talking to doctors, and I'm living with this, right? I'm living with issues with cognitive decline. I'm doing better right now than I've done ever. I really am. I'm doing better than I have ever. But I spend a lot of time writing down, going and putting down what happens during the day. I have an external hard drive because I'm not going to be able to remember everything. So I have to work on it that way. Warning, do not drink massive amounts of water. If you have constipation from opiate use, it makes for low sodium and it can take you off of planet Earth. It absolutely can. Water toxicity, especially if you're doing a lot of opiates. Always talk to a doctor before you do anything stupid. And if you're constipated, go buy Fleet, right? Anybody that abused opioids for any amount of time knows what Fleet is, right? Go get you a 6-pack of Fleet, and if 6 of them don't get you right, nothing is going to. Alrighty, people, that's a wrap. And someone was saying, where do we watch Joel? At Surviving the Survivor. You can type in STS Nation. I promise that'll get you right there. That will absolutely get you right there. So I'm going to head on over there, people. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I will see you on the next one. Between now and then, do me a favor and reach out and try to save somebody.